LS is a Japanese company that existed from 1946 to 1992. They produced plastic model kits from 1961 to 1992 when bankruptcy forced them to sell their molds to ARI. They were known for their kits of military vehicles, automobiles, ships and aircraft, enemy, and even full-size weapons. But today, we're looking at another lesser-known product of the company. This is an HO scale model of a Japanese Railways Class C-62 locomotive and train. Before opening the kit, we can see that on the side of the box that LS offered other steam locomotive models as well. This first one is called Benkei, a locomotive built by H.K. Porter in 1880 and shipped to Japan. The second is Chibikko, of which I could find no information on. And the third is a B60 Tank Locomotive, which I believe is a 6-ton replica of an 060 built recently. This text here tells us about the C-62 class locomotives, of which I'll give you the history of. The C-62 class was built by Japanese National Railways from 1948 to 1949. They have a Hudson or 464 wheel arrangement and were the largest and fastest steam passenger locomotives to run in Japan. They hauled the Tsuban or Swallow Express between Tokyo and Osaka. C-62-17 set the speed record for a narrow gauge steam locomotive when it reached 80 miles per hour in 1954. 5 have been preserved, but only one, C-62-2, at the Kyoto Railway Museum is still operational. Let's now open it and take a look at. So here we have the coaches and the tender with the axles and wheels. Here we have the parts for the locomotive itself. One of the wheels, as the seller told me, is missing. I'm going to go to my junk box and try to see if I can make a replacement wheel for it. Now, here's the unusual thing about this kit. As they show in the box, it came equipped with a Clockwork motor, which is the reason why I'm including it in my Clockwork collection. Notice that the wheels don't have any flanges on them. So it may have been intended to run on the floor. However, at the same time, it's a kit that had to be glued together, and so we have a little tube of glue. To me, this kind of makes this model kit neither fish nor fowl. You wouldn't want to give a small child, who you give a Clockwork Train to, a kit that required glue to put it together. But at the same time, an older model of the sort who'd be able to build this kit probably wouldn't want the clockwork mechanism, and the fact is not in scale. Speaking of scale, so here we can see on the end here the cab, which we can compare to my Mark's Hudson 464. It's obviously a much tinier locomotive, partly because narrow gauge trains are smaller, but I'm sure they also scaled down to work with clockwork, just like all the other clockwork trains. Here are the coaches, which we can compare to the Slimer coach. So it is also quasi-HO scale, although once again it's been foreshortened down to work with as a clockwork train. Of course, the tender is much smaller than the tender on the New York Central Hudson. So first thing we're going to do is I'm going to go into my junk box and get a wheel from one of my other locomotives or cars and see if I can machine it down to replace the wheel that's missing. Then we're going to go ahead and put it together. And the next challenge, well, as we put it together, is to see if we can actually make it work on HO scale track. It turns out getting the LS C-62 train to work on HO scale track is a case of close but no cigar. Here is a set of wheels assembled straight as it comes in the kit. This is HO scale track. As you can see, it's too wide. Here, I sanded the flanges or the bolts off the inside of the wheels. I also tried making the flanges thinner. So I was able to narrow it, but still not enough to run on HO scale track. For comparison, here is an HO scale actual wheel set, and it's still wider than the wheel set. But if you did try using a set down to that scale, it looks like it may, it'd be too tight to fit without sanding. So you just can't get it quite close enough to fit without doing a lot of sanding. Here is the clockwork motor that comes with the train. It is a much simpler and much smaller affair than the engines that we've seen in our other clockwork trains. Unless this is it, it doesn't appear to have a lever that locks the mechanism while you're winding it. It has a pair of rubber tires instead of the flanged wheels you normally find on a clockwork train, further giving away the fact that it's a floor toy rather than one to run on rails. I believe these tabs should be bent in once it's installed in the chassis. The key is compatible with the other clockwork trains. So let's see here. Six winds is about all you can do. So you can tell the mainspring is much smaller too. So you get a lot fewer runs out of it, or a smaller distance out of it. So here is the completed LS C-62 steam locomotive. The seller who sold this to me kindly noted that one of the wheels was missing, according to this diagram. But what he did not know is that if you look at the diagram here and the model itself, there's only one pilot wheel in the front instead of two, like was shown in the instructions. What he didn't realize is one of the metal axles for the engine was missing. Fortunately, I was able to fabricate one using an old nail. So having completed this kit, I still have the opinion that this will be very difficult for a child to build, considering, for example, the instructions are not entirely accurate. While I think an older, more experienced modeler will be disappointed at the results. I highly doubt that LS sold very many of these. Reviewing the instructions and the box, I realized that it makes no inference that this is an HO scale model. I also understand why they did not include track, because it wasn't intended to run on track. With that being said, let's look at how it actually does run on the floor. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe.